tell you a little funny thing about magazine publishers. You know what else they publish besides magazines? Books, directories, something else they publish, or something else they produce. Bad word. Anybody? Bueller? Okay. They publish seminars. Every magazine in the Gebby Press puts on the international, I'm speaking, actually, I told David this last time, it's not going to come up for 6 more months. I'm speaking to the International, what is it? The International Association of Concrete Form Manufacturers. Woohoo! Because I was in their magazine. Now, you got an article placed in a magazine and you find out, I don't care if it's heating and air, I don't care if it's cooling, I don't care if it's landscaping, I don't care if it's fancy clothes or fancy cars. There's an association for everything. And every one of them publishes a magazine that'll accept an article, tout you, tell the world about you, and then publish a program where you can go in, and I'm going to have this woman from Association Meetings Magazine actually go to their meeting planner and personally recommend to me. Why? Because A, I'm in the magazine, B, I have a relationship with her. So you guys can sit here all day long, and we can get in every newspaper, and every radio station, every talk show across the country, which isn't a bad thing. It's not a bad thing. Or we can go after the marketing publicity that comes our way. Now, with that said, as far as local PR is concerned, if you're going to go speak in Knoxville, Tennessee, and no, I didn't do this, okay, I didn't do it, I should have done it. If you're going to go speak in Knoxville, Tennessee, you're going to go speak in Sheboygan, you're going to go speak wherever it is that you're going to go speak, pick up the phone the week or 2 before and call the local radio station and say, I'm coming to town, would you like to interview me? You don't do it from the studio. Anybody here know who Jeffrey Gitomer is? I interviewed Gitomer doing 97 miles an hour through New Jersey one time. I mean, from his car. I assume he was in his car. But it was a rather weird experience, but it's all the time. I've interviewed all the biggies, Zig Ziglar, you name it. Never laid eyes on one of them. Call your local paper, call your local business journal, call all these different publications. There's also a thing in there about Google ad alerts. I'm going to let y'all read that on your own, but it's free. It's actually in the brochure that you've got. Now, I will tell you something. If you read that article and go, man, this Michael Hart guy is one smart cookie. I didn't write this. I stole it, and I printed it for you because I'm doing it as well. I just learned about it 3 weeks ago. You can put your name on Google, and you can Google all the various people out there that are writing articles that you want to be featured in. Let me give you a case in point. I did this a few days ago, and I found a guy up in Huntsville, Tennessee. His name is Tim Knox. Tim is a professional speaker. He also has a radio program. He also happens to be the senior business writer for the Huntsville Times. One phone call, actually started with an email, then a phone call, then another phone call. Tim Knox is going to have me on his radio program, which is syndicated throughout the Southeast. I'm going to be featured in the Huntsville Times. I'm going to be on his website, which receives over 50,000 visitors a month, because he's a pretty good business speaker. He wants to do a book project with me now, which I'm probably not going to do because I don't have the time. All of this because I'm driving up to North Alabama to go to a river, and I happen to hear a radio program where he's featured on, and I followed up with him. I never knew where it was going to go. You never know. Folks, you just spent an hour and a half with people that are brilliant at this. They didn't tell you anything that I'm not telling you. It works, but you gotta have the relationships. I can't tell you the relationships that I've gotten and the publicity opportunities that have presented themselves to me. I'm getting short on time, so I'm gonna go into another area, and that is electronic media. I think the internet's a fad. I don't know about y'all. Let me tell you, seriously, let me tell you my philosophy about it. I really do believe there's going to come a point in time where we're going to hit critical mass, and people are going to get so fed up with is the word anonymity? Whatever it is, the anonymous nature of the internet. Is that it? Okay. Okay. I can't say that word anyway. The point is this. There are people out there that'll go like on Business Wire and PR Newswire and PR Web and all. And it's a thing called RSS. I don't know if you're familiar with RSS. It's really simple syndication where you can write an article and you can dump it out on an RSS feed and it'll pop up all over the place. But there are people that'll do like they'll subscribe for $500 to PR Web. and they'll then put out an article that'll be broadcast across the country, 25, 30, 40, 50,000 RSS feeds. The problem is they're ending up on sites for dog food, or Google's Lithuanian cookbook site, or whatever the case may be. You have no control over it. And I really am a big advocate, and if you start to pay attention to the opportunities that are available to you, as speakers, you don't have to go that route. People subscribe to things like Business Wire, which I'm a subscriber to, but let me show you something real quick. And for those of you that stayed here in the hotel today, you got a thing. Yeah, that's it. A USA Today this morning, it was at your door. If you look down the business page, down the left-hand column, all of those stories were released by one of the wire services. Yes, you can subscribe to the wire service, put one press release out that'll get picked up all over the world. Perfectly doable, great idea. Here is Business Wires for yesterday. Now it's printed in black and white, so you can't see it, but every single one of these is a link to a story that was released on this one news wire of the 117 that are out there to one email account, which was mine, in one day. They work, but they're never going to, because there are people, there's speakers out there, and I won't name names. I don't like him, but I won't name his name anyway. There are speakers out there that heavily tout, I don't talk to anybody. No, I just send out 57 million email releases and it just all comes to me. Okay. He's not a speaker and he hasn't been on a platform in years, but that's what he does. He utilizes the business wires. Let me show you something real quick. Business wires are okay. Let me give a little piece of advice. David talked about it earlier. What do we call it? Slow news days. This Business Wire release came out on Thursday. This one came out on Saturday. And you might say, hey, nobody's in the office on Saturday. Well, it's not like their email went anywhere by Monday morning, now is it? It's the little things like that that really make you stand out. It's making people understand what you do. And we can spend hours and hours and hours and hours talking about the various things that are out there, the opportunities that are out there. But every single one of your magazines and newspapers, they all need stuff. Now, I want to tell you a little secret. I'm big on marketing publicity. But if you forego the ego publicity, you're missing the opportunity. You're not going to build a massively large, you never know where it's going to go. The point is that the ego PR is great for your press releases. It's great for your press kits. It needs to be circulated and recirculated over and over and over again. There's a thing in the brochure that I handed you that said 56 reasons to contact the media. Why are there not more? Because I got tired of typing. If you go to my website, there's 69. Why 69? Because bandwidth was getting thin, so I just stopped typing. Polls, awards, blurbs, and then the almighty green file. The green file is a fancy way for reporters to say, that's my Rolodex. What's that? The Rolodex. It's called a green file. And yes, you can call reporters up and say, hey, my name's Michael Hart. I'd like to be in your green file. And they'll know exactly what you're talking about. Because you're not calling them and surprising them. I mean, it's not like, hey, this guy's calling me, what is he up to? They know what you're up to. You want to get the publicity. You want to get the PR. And there's not a thing wrong in the world for asking about it. And to get as much of it as you possibly can. But the point is that these opportunities to do that are everywhere. And if you're open to them, do you know that every day of the week except Sunday, the United States government brings me another lead for a speaking opportunity? Anyone care to venture where it gets there? It's in my mailbox. Whether it be the bank or the seminar, I subscribe to 1,100 different magazines. I send editorials into them all the time. I'm in their face all the time. Because if you are and you begin to develop those relationships, you'll see this stuff absolutely explode.